Mm. Back up.
Shalom, brother.
You can finish up with the everything. I'm gonna call Elder Qanath so he can I guess tell me what he want me to ask you since they trying to block his page again.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second though. Let me close my door because I don't want this noise to interfere with what you're saying so that it don't interrupt with the people hearing.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So I believe what we were talking about before the adversary came in, right, was how did these people who was it that Columbus took to Europe?
Right.
Right.
That was my question because I was taught that there was 1,200 Taino Indians, and I do have a book that I read about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That they did
Okay.
take 1,200 of them.
So if you look at the triangular trade was going from Europe to Africa to get slaves, taking those slaves and other supplies to the New World, making whatever they were making, and bringing it back to Europe. That's what the triangular trade was about.
Right.
I told you that the people who helped Columbus get to the New World were Fulani, and that the word Fulani in the Fulani language literally means seafarer, because they built the ships that went across the Atlantic to the Canary Islands.
Con.
Now, when those slaves got to the New World, it was the intention of the Portuguese, British, and Spanish aristocracy, the wealthy people, to leave those people, those African slaves, leave them disenfranchised and not expose them to anything that might help them liberate themselves, because they were afraid of uprisings.
Right.
So if you look at a map going from the slavery, places of slavery up into Spain, what's going to happen is, if you zoom in real close, you'll come across these islands called the Azores Islands.
Go ahead.
And when you go to the Azores,
I need to feed my cat because she keep jumping in my face. I'm gonna just give her a can of food real
sure.
fast. So go ahead. I'll be right back. Come on.
So there's some islands right there called the Azores. Now, why are those islands significant? Those islands are also on the North American current, and that current is what helps carry the ships into Spain. That current carries a lot of warm water and warm air into Northern Europe, and that is the only reason why Europe experiences summer and spring and fall, because the North Atlantic current comes from West Africa. It goes through Florida and it goes up through into Spain, and it crosses the Azores Islands. There is a singer in, I guess she's in America now, but if you were to Google this singer, her name is Nelly Furtado.
Oh,
Nelly
yeah.
Furtado is from the Azores Islands. And
Wow.
if you Google Nelly Furtado, you can see how people from the Azores Islands look. They look like African people with some Spanish nuances, because most of the people in the Azores were African slaves and Indians that were deposited there to work on the grape vineyards for the Portuguese and the Spanish. So who are the people that are in Spain? Or did Christopher Columbus bring Spanish people or Native Indians into Europe? I'm sure he did, because they were a spectacle. They were like, these are the people that were there. They even had like zoos where they would showcase African and Indian people, and they would build little replicas of their towns, and it was basically something that white people paid money to go to a zoo to see these people.
Right.
But did he bring a substantial population of those people into Spain so that they could live and become Spanish citizens? Absolutely not.
Okay. What is the difference, right? Because I'm pretty sure you know about the Negroid natives, or what they would call the ones that wore the same exact gauze as the Asian-looking Native Americans. About those ones that was identifying themselves as Indians over here in this land as well. When you see them with like the same tribal, like the crown that they wear with the feathers, the Negro looking ones that wore the same attire that they did. And then you see some of those Native Indians that have the Shield of David and the menorah and some of their culture.
So those are more the nuances that prove that they were exposed to Hebrew culture, but it doesn't prove that they were Hebrews.
Right.
You understand? It proves that they were exposed to Hebrew culture, but it doesn't prove that they're Hebrews. I'll give you a perfect example. They have dishes in South America like baleadas, which is basically like a quesadilla with black beans, but it comes from African slaves,
Right.
Nachos. We always equate nachos with Mexican food, but nachos is a slave food. It was African slaves that made nachos, and it has a Mexican name. You see it served at every Mexican restaurant, but it's a black thing and not a Hispanic thing. So there's some cross-cultural amalgamation going on all over the place. These people were obviously exposed to Hebrews because the Israelite king that was like third in line after Solomon, I can't think of his name, starts with an M. His navy went around the world once every 3 years.
Okay.
So imagine what he was trading with other cultures.
Right.
Because
I have a book called Jews Amongst Indians, and it speaks of saying that Native Indians borrowed from the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was very interesting. I never got through the whole book, but it did say something about that they didn't believe that the Native Indians had a connection actually with being Hebrews. And then some books say that they do believe the Native Indians were Hebrews. And I know I read a lot of that same type of stuff.
Now this is
right. I don't have that book.
And Promised Lands. This is you can see this here is a rare, hard to find, hardback version of the book. Now, I don't know how your book goes, but if you turn to page, I want to say
that one. I don't have that one. But this the book right here I was speaking to you about.
Yes.
So I don't have that necessary book that you have, but the elder and the other elder in our camp named Yehuda, he has that book, but I don't have that book. So
okay. Let me see if I can find that piece real quick.
I know what you're talking about. I'll look for it because I thought I shared it. Hold on. You talking about the page that Mighty Hebrew shared, right?
Right.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see.
Was it 263?
I got it on my phone. Wait a minute. I know they ain't okay. I know I saved it.
I try not to write in this book because I want to save it.
Right. Hold on. I'm looking for it on my phone because I have saved it to my phone. In fact, let me check my messenger. I'll find it for you.
What he says in the book though is that these Indians even say themselves
I
that
got
they
it
are
right
not
here. Right. But see, the page is not showing. But I got it right here. This is the page.
Yeah.
It starts off saying,
the page number.
It says, in September 1644, a Portuguese Moreno named Antonio del Martinez arrived in Amsterdam after having lived for some years in South America and proceeded to tell the leaders of the recent established Jewish community there a story that caused them to think of him as a lighter day, I guess this would be Eldon the Danite.
Eldad the Danite. Now, Eldad the Danite is the same person that Rudolph Windsor mentions on page 83 of From Babylon to Timbuktu.
Right. Then it goes on to say, 2.5 years before he told them, while traveling in the wild mountains of Quito, he had heard some of his Indian guides remark that the natives of the countries derives all the suffering. Salakia. The natives of the country deserve all the suffering they had undergone at the hands of the Spaniards. When he asked them to explain why they thought such a thing, they had replied mysteriously that it was because we so badly treated a holy people, the greatest in the world. Nothing more had been offered by them on this point, but later in the same conversation, Francisco, one of the Indian guides, had declared that his countrymen would be avenged upon.
Right. So if I could just interrupt you for a second, he says here on the book, he says that the Indians told him that they deserved the treatment that they got from the European Spanish because of the role the Indians played in mistreating the holy people. And he goes on to say that he had declared that his countrymen, the Indians, would be avenged upon the Spaniards in time anyway, by means of a people now hidden, the hidden ones. Right? The two references apparently were to the same people, but Montezinus, not seeing their full meaning at the moment, put the whole matter out of his head. That's when you turn the next page and he says, those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews. He's not talking about the two guides. He's talking about the people that those two guides was talking about. And that is on page 363 and 364 of his book. I'm going to have to write that down somewhere so I don't forget it.
That book is The Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Somebody was asking.
Yeah, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. The Origins of American Racism. And the guy who wrote it is an Ashkenazi Jew, Ronald Sanders.
Wow.
So this is one of the books that they go to. Now, I don't know how they found that one little thing in this whole book because I read this book, and this book is nothing. It has nothing to do with Hebrews, nothing to do with Native Americans. It has everything to do with like colonization. I don't know how whoever found what it was they found in this book was able to find that one little part where it says these Indians are Hebrews, but you can see clearly that they quoted from page 364, and they quoted it out of context because the first part of that chapter, page 363, tells you what Hebrews, Indians he was talking about.
Right. Wow. That's powerful.
Because they took that verse out of context.
Right. See, I never read that book because I never could get my hands on it. I got a lot of books, but that one is one I don't have in my possession and collection.
Man, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring it when we go to New York. I'm gonna make copies and everything. You're gonna have some pages of this book because they have taken and to me, I don't question the book because the book didn't do nothing. The book is just printed. I question the mind of a person that will take half a truth and misrepresent it for the point of making his point valid when it's clear that that passage of the book is talking about something totally different. You know what I'm saying? That's called deceiver. That's called being a deceptive. You know, how you would find one little point and twist the context of it. I had a brother that did that on my page. He went on my Facebook. He found my pictures. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to say Zion Await's name, but he went on my page and got my pictures and reposted my pictures out of context, and then blocks me so I can't respond to it. I mean, is that what we're doing in Israel nowadays? Is misrepresenting stuff so that our truth can be the truth? It don't make no sense. You know.
Right.
Now, are there Hispanics? Are there people in Hispanic countries that are Hebrews? Definitively, the answer is yes. But the only Hispanic Hebrews in South America and Central America, they have to be able to trace their lineage through transatlantic slavery. Right. And those mestizos, as disenfranchised and as mistreated as they were, they do not fit the curses. And that's just a simple truth.
And that's why right now, and another question I want to ask you, right? How do you feel about America being orthodox? That was another thing that we talked about, and we went in and talked about that, and how we spoke about how we know that certain tribes migrated from went through the Euphrates and went down into South Africa and North Africa, and we were speaking about, you know, the East Coast slave trade, the Zanzibar slave trade, Dutch slave trade, you know, when you deal with the Mid-Atlantic slave trade, because I have an actual map that shows you, and it speaks of the Bantu tribe, the Fulani tribes, and it shows you and it shows tribes coming from South America going into slavery in different lands on the ships, and it tells you the numbers. You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
And that's why me and Elder Qanath got the understanding that Northern Kingdom tribes was getting shipped out over here as well on the slave ships, not just Southern Kingdom tribes when you look at the map.
Right. Correct. Now, a lot of the people will pull that from this book. You know, they say, "Oh, Asareth," okay. And my question is, you know, show me another reference to Asareth in the scriptures, and they can't. You know,
right?
And so I've done my research on that, right? And I grabbed this apocrypha. You can see the difference in the size, right? Trying to find what Asareth means, and it's not clear that Asareth is the Americas. It says they dwelled in a place where no man had dwelt, and the journey took 1.5 years. And it didn't say, if I'm quoting correctly, it says it was a journey by sea, but they went over by land or something like that. You
No,
know,
that's right. It said
and
they went through the Euphrates. The Most High held the
right,
water still. They went through the Euphrates until they
right. They
crossed
went
over.
over. They
The journey
walked.
took a year and
They
a half.
didn't take ships. They walked on foot.
But see, this was
And
my
it,
thing. What we talked about. If they came out of captivity, right,
mm-hmm.
and they would have had to build ships. You got women, children, elderly, right? If they went down the Euphrates on a
Mm-hmm.
boat, they would have came out to the Indian Ocean. You see what I'm saying? They would have to take the Indian Ocean all the way around to South Africa. All the way around South Africa, they would have had to go all the way around and go all the way down to the islands and to South America. That's how they would have got there if they would have went that way. If that's how they saying second address happened, they would have
Yeah.
went all the way around Africa just to get to South America.
Right.
When you look on, anybody can pick up a map, look at it, follow the Euphrates down. You'll see go all the way down. That's the Indian Ocean. From the Indian Ocean, you're talking all the way around Africa, going all the way down. And I believe it's Australia down there somewhere before they get to South America. I'm not for sure. I got to look at it again,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll be right there in South America. Now, a year and a
Right.
half trip, stopping, doing that. I mean, that's a lot of work, a lot of
It
food,
is.
a lot of
It is.
hunting. People being sick. I mean, you got to think about it. It's just common sense. And like Israel, I never read where Israel migrated out everybody, never migrated and just left. It always was stragglers. People stayed places and stayed there,
Right.
and you had other people left out. So I can't see in my mind the whole 10 tribes just left, or 9 tribes just left and moved out of Syria like that, out of
Yeah.
captivity, and just went on a voyage that way.
Yeah. Especially by ship, because I mean, you got to think about you can't spend a year and a half on a boat. You got to dock somewhere. You got to get off and stretch your legs. You got to have fresh water. You got to have food and supplies. It's a lot more things that you need on this ship, because where are millions of people on ships? Where are they going to use the restroom?
Right.
How are you going to have enough water for 9 tribes worth of people? It was like what, uh, 40,000 footmen in Ephraim when they did the numbering in Numbers,
Right.
or 400,000 footmen in Ephraim. That's a large tribe.
One
You
tribe
know,
alone. You talking about 9
one
tribes.
tribe alone, and that's
Exactly.
not including all their wives and children.
Exactly.
And then the scripture says that the tribe of Naphtali, those men had those men were known for having like 13 to 14 wives.
Wow.
How you gonna move all them people? How you gonna move all them people on a boat for a year and a half? It doesn't make good sense.
And you know what else
You
we
know?
mentioned? When you read the historian Josephus, it talks about how we fought in the wars with Alexander, and they left 120,000 Jews in Egypt. It speaks
Right.
about that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
all of them Israelites over there didn't proceed and move out. I'm pretty sure some of them might have moved out, and I'm pretty sure the numbers grew. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Over time, but they dwindled down some, and they moved out to different locations over there in Africa. But they was
Yeah.
oppressed again by Ptolemy. So, and we know
Right.
that, and that's why we can go back to the prophecy of Isaiah 11 and 11. So it don't make sense. We know all 12 tribes are scattered throughout the 4 corners
Right.
of the earth.
Right. And again about Greece. It wasn't Greeks that translated our scriptures into
Nope.
the Greek Septuagint.
Nope.
It was us.
Yep.
And then people get bent out of shape about the Masoretes and the Masoretic texts and all the Nikudot. It wasn't Europeans that did that. It was us who
Yep.
translated the scriptures into the Masoretic text and added the Nikudots, because there were so many younger generations that were losing the language and losing the pronunciation, that the Hebrew scribes and scholars got together and decided to add the Nikuds so that other Hebrews could learn the language in its truest form. So, and the Greek language hasn't gone extinct. It's still spoken today.
Right.
And the only difference between modern Greek and ancient Greek is there was no word for automobile and spaceship in ancient Greek.
Okay.
So we can use the language that still exists right now today to pull the meaning out of the Hebrew scriptures that were translated into the Greek Septuagint. And once you understand how language works, or how any language works, you will understand that all of it, that Abba, Gada, Zah, Tazah, that stuff is not a language. You know what I'm saying? That is just something that some Hebrews have made up to sound smart, or to have ownership of some version of the truth. And we gotta start learning real Hebrew. We gotta start doing real research, and we gotta start holding brothers accountable for the research that they're doing out there. Every nation has an education, a Department of Education. Every nation of people has a scholarship body, and it's time for us to create our own scholarship body so that we could squash some of these doctrines that's going around in Israel.
He said, I missed the part about someone took pictures off your page. Qanath did said that.
Yeah. The brother took, because I went to Africa and to meet the elders, and he went on my page. He found a picture of me posing with some Africans and a machine gun, and he was saying, you would rather hang around these Africans than hang around Ephraimites. And I'm thinking to myself, we already know that the tribe of Ephraim got some remnants in Nigeria. I got a brother right now today in Houston who is like one of the biggest cheerleaders for Ephraim being in the Yoruba or Igbo. You know what I'm saying? Igbo even means Hebrew.
Right.
And so, you know, for him to say, you want to hang around Africans and then to block me so I can't respond, I mean, to me, that's childish, you know. That's childish. And if you really want to, point blank period, if you really want to know what's what with this research, then we got to stop being Google scholars and Facebook scholars and he said, she said scholars, and let's go to Mexico and let's go find some of these tribes and talk to these people. Let's go to Honduras.
Right.
Let's go to Ghana and Liberia and talk to the people and really look at the people. That's why I can't knock IUIC, because that's what IUIC is doing. They're going, you see them in the place talking to the people. And you ain't found one, you ain't seen one Hispanic over there in Ghana with IUIC unless he was wearing purple and gold with them.
And see, that's my another thing that I was saying too, that we supposed to be few in number as a people, and we supposed to be scattered everywhere, right? And I'm saying we don't see that with the Hispanics and the Mexicans, right? So why they're not scattered like the 12 tribes say? So that's why I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, when we look at the Afro-Mexicans down there in Mexico, because it seems like every time we bring them up, everybody got an issue about the Afro-Mexicans. Like, we can't talk about brothers and sisters. But they are people. How can we not acknowledge them or even make it as well as we can't even talk to them like they're not supposed to be a part of the kingdom when they've been ostracized and persecuted there?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say Issachar, it's bad scholarship to say that all of Issachar is in Mexico. But if you are going to assert that, then you have to tell me, are you talking about the Europeans that are there? Because there's Europeans there. There's some mestizos that are there, because there are mestizos. There are even some Aztec and other tribes that have never been mixed in Mexico, that maintain their true bloodline and their true language. They don't even speak Spanish. They got people in Mexico right now that speak Aztec. And then you got those Afro-Mexicans. Which one of these people is Issachar?
Right. this brother asked a question saying, Yehuda, the only tribe scattered. You can't tell by sight alone. Well, I'm gonna tell you, I disagree with that because it says the 12
Yeah,
tribes are scattered, not
yeah,
just
yeah.
the tribe of Judah.
What book was that in New Testament? He said
James
even
1
to
and
the
1.
12 tribes scattered abroad.
James 1 and 1. Deuteronomy
James.
28:64 says all the tribes shall be, because when you read Deuteronomy 28, it's speaking to all the tribes. Not just, it don't
Right,
say this curse fit these tribes, this curse fit these tribes. It said, I shall scatter them into all kingdoms, meaning all 12
right,
tribes, not just
right.
one, into all
Yeah.
nations among all people. So I don't know where people, brothers, keep
And,
getting that
and then
from.
and then look in Ezekiel 37, he says, "Take the stick of Judah and his fellows,
Right,
and the stick of Ephraim and his fellows, and they all shall be one in your hand."
right.
So all of us are scattered.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Because I'm like, it's no possible way all the 10 tribes could exactly be over here. That because it's
Right,
like the prophecy of a prophecy of Isaiah 11:11 that wouldn't matter anymore. Like
right,
when he said he's going to make his second covenant to gather the remnant of the people. Like I said, you read Deuteronomy, I think it's 28 and 62 to 61. It says that he would hit us with the plagues and pestilence until he destroy us, and we shall be few in numbers or few in people
right.
where we at. So to me, that don't make sense. When you look at the Mexicans, they're a very large multitude number of people. Like, let's just
Yeah,
keep it real.
and they have their own land, and you know everything we eat comes from Mexico. They got their own land. They don't need. I mean, it's amazing that they want to come here anyway, because you can grow everything in Mexico.
Right.
They have no reason to come here.
So it's no way that they can be the tribe of Issachar.
Man, no way, Jose. No way.
And
There's
another
no.
thing is right. My one of my other elders, he gave me this verse. And I forgot about this verse, but he was telling me about how I believe it's Isaiah 48 and 1, how everybody comes out the tents of Judah.
Mhm.
And he was like, brother, everybody's come out the tents of Judah. You know, even though when we broke down Hosea 7 and 8, we all supposed to have as a bloodline the same type of Negro look. Like
Yeah.
everybody gonna look exactly the same. We come in different shades of brown, but to
Mm.
look like a whole different genealogy of people is absurd.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absurd. These Spanish people, they didn't bring their women. It wasn't like these blacks and Indians were marrying Spanish women. So if you are whatever your father is, these people's father was all Spanish Europeans. So they wouldn't make the cut anyway.
Right. Now we have some sojourning with us, you know, and
Absolutely.
they've been sojourning with us for long, because I only been in this thing almost 9 years. Some of them been in this thing and one of them came on and confessed and said that he was lied to. He was in this thing for 22 years and he found out that he was a sojourner. And like I told him, Most High bless. Thank you for your
Thou
service.
shalt not oppress a stranger, because you were once
Right.
strangers in Egypt.
Or you're
And,
not
and,
supposed
and
to
then,
actually.
it's like, I mean, they wouldn't really be able to teach, I guess, nobody.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking. But see, and this is why I says the 12 tribe chart wasn't all bad, because I felt like the Most High allowed that to happen to help them with
Yeah,
some of the labor on the street.
yeah,
The hell with it. Why not put them to work if they're going to sojourn? Let them do some of the heavy lifting. Hey, they
yeah,
helped wake a lot of people up. So that's why I say when it comes to the Most High, man, he's very, very smart. Like you can't, and I understand that. And see, it might have been a trick of the devil. Like, yeah, put this out,
yeah.
but it really
But
backfired on him because it helped wake
yeah,
up a lot of people in the nation. I mean, like I
yeah,
said, you're going to have balance. It's going to do some good and it's going to do some bad. So, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
These people sojourning with us. I mean, I bet you if you look at them, because I know there's one Hispanic guy. He always comes around when we do the Road Descent family reunion, and he's a rapper and everything. And the dude, he's a Hispanic guy. He probably hung around black people his whole life, and he just can relate to us more than he relates to his own people. I mean, our culture is that the Bible says we are a peculiar people.
Right.
So he just relates, and the Most High could have elevated him to a sojourner. We shouldn't look at it as a bad thing. We should look at it as the Most High has elected you to be amongst us because you're going to be the emissary or the ambassador to your people for the Hebrews.
We're not talking about mixing, Tracy. We're just talking about them taking a hold of our culture, like, because the Most High want every nation to serve them anyway. We ain't talking about mixing with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we're saying is we can't kick them out and say, hey, you can't serve the Father, because that's against Scripture. Scripture says anybody can be a sojourner. We're not supposed to vex them, hate them, do violence to them. We're supposed to treat them as one of ourselves. And that's what Qanath is preaching in, like, to everybody. If you a sojourner, Most High bless, brother, practice the services and all that. We ain't telling them not to serve, because that'll be going against the very laws that we claiming we want to keep.
Yeah, man. I used to do my research, and I would put a date on my research because I wanted to just keep track of when I was learning this new information. Because I came into the truth before the Facebook and MySpace and YouTube days of the truth, and I look back on some videos that GOCC had put together about the 12 tribes chart, and that research dated back to 2005, and I was like, it's been 14 years since I first heard about the 12 tribes chart, and in 14 years it has not made more sense than it did back when I first learned it.
Right.
There's no scholarship. It's not even scholarship worthy that would be the case for Hispanics and American Indians. We just gotta point the facts, as what they are. Judah and all the other tribes are Negroid in appearance, and you got those exceptions like Mariah Carey and Alicia Keys and who's that basketball guy?
Blake Griffin.
You got your exceptions, but I mean, if Blake Griffin's wife is black, then you're going to see his descendants turning back into Negro.
Yeah, she just asked a question. If a black man sleeps with a Mexican, is the child an Israelite?
The child is an Israelite if his father is an Israelite and raises him as an Israelite. If the father doesn't want to raise his, because I'm going to give you a perfect example. Look at what happened in Persia in the book of Ezra, and these men had married all these Persian women, and the creator was like, y'all got to leave them all there.
Yeah. With the children, wives and the children.
Yeah. Leave them all there. So if the father's a Hebrew and the father is keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, and he's going to raise his child the same way, then absolutely, the child, and then that woman, like it says in I think it's Ezekiel 42 and 22, that woman becomes saved. She gets saved through childbearing because she bears Israelite children. She follows the laws herself. Guess what? All power to her.
Another thing that me and Elder Qanath been talking about too, about the spoils of war when we went to war. And we was talking about, you can take a heathen woman, shave their hair, and make a, supposed to be a heathen woman. But we've been doing some research on that, thinking was they really heathen women, or they was Israelite women that was captured, and we went to war and got our women back. When you read about it, and I think it's in the book of Deuteronomy.
Yeah. I'm not. And we have done our nation a total injustice in recent years by encroaching these Latin women that we like with all these stringy hair and these attitudes. We just lust after those Spanish women, and what that means is we're gonna gravitate to them, and we're gonna leave our women single, because Latin women come from a culture that's patriarchal and they submit naturally to their husbands. And so we act like we're afraid. And that's the problem. is we ain't got real men in Israel. We got these little boys who don't know how to usurp authority over a woman. And these black women got more degrees than us. They make more money than us. Their credit is better than ours. And truth be told, black men are just intimidated by that, so they want to go get Spanish women, you know. So,
well, you know, I've seen a lot of Israelite weddings with brothers marrying Spanish girls. A
oh,
whole lot on
absolutely.
YouTube. A whole lot. I was like,
We
wow.
lust after their women, yeah.
Really?
We lust after them.
Yeah. See, my wife, she's from the same tribe I'm from. So,
Yeah.
you know, I made sure of that.
I want a powerful black sister on my team. I don't need no Spanish woman. I definitely don't want no pork chop, you know, white Becky. I don't need Becky at all, you know. Now, as far as us going and finding among the captives a beautiful woman, I mean, to each his own, I guess. I mean, I can't really say that has, you know, that's a good thing or bad thing. I know the scriptures mentions it, you know,
Right.
but I'd rather be. The Bible also says, "Thou shalt not tempt the Lord your God." So I'd rather be safe and deal with my own people than
Right.
to dibble and dabble, you know, with these other people, because you don't know that this woman's going to keep the laws anyway. You know, I mean, I wouldn't dip and dabble with other nations of women. You know, there's plenty sisters out here that need a strong Israelite husband. You know, and let's deal with our own people first, and then we can look at, you know, how we subdue the other nations.
Right. I respect that. Because I feel the same way that we need to set, like Malcolm X said, you know, I heard that years ago, even before I was in the truth, that he was like talking about how the Negro need to separate from all people, and we need, if you want to give donations, give donations. And now I strongly believe, that's why they really killed him, because you know, he was on to something right, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think a lot of people paid attention to that. But now that I know what I know now, I say, oh, I see now. He already he had
And
to
see,
figure it out. Like, no, just us.
they ended up killing Elijah Muhammad too, because Elijah Muhammad kept talking about the nation, and then they sodomized his son, War of Deen Muhammad, and paid him off to sell the entire nation of Shabazz back into mainstream Islam, which ended our plight for nationhood, because the Nation of Islam was a nationalistic movement, and they had to stop that energy or that surge of us moving toward becoming a nation, because one, according to the Most High, it wasn't time yet, because we cannot become a nation under a law, because that's a false god. But they were on their way to doing it. The Creator had to intervene and say, I don't want my nation like this. I want my nation to be under me and not under some other false deity. You know,
Right.
and so we have to be a nation. And this here is just, I'm telling you, once we get this 12 tribes document behind us, that's the final straw, is getting that 12 tribes chart out of the way, and getting back to being a real nation, because he's not going to give his glory to any other. And we don't have the authority to graft anybody into this truth. You know?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And we know it's a lot of sojourners amongst the camps, because you can see
absolutely.
You can see them in like GOCC. They got all types of people in there, and you clearly know that it's not Israel. You know what I'm saying? They definitely sojourners. But I'm gonna definitely try to make that trip with you over to Israel, though. You said you was going, because I got my passport.
I'm going in May.
I've been wanting to go. Yeah.
I came back to the States, bro, and they took my passport from me, and they put a stamp in my passport that said, this passport is only good for one return trip to the United States. They was trying to stop me from traveling and doing my research. And so I've been fighting, but I finally got my passport. I mean, I finally got my, like, all this stuff paid off. So now I'm getting a new passport. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
It basically
Wow.
says
The passport, it's turned the other way. But I know it says the passport at the top.
Yeah. It says this passport is valid for one return flight before a certain date. They wanted me to, let me see. What about that? Is it backwards?
It's blurry. Hold on. Yeah, it gotta focus. It's not focused, so I can't really see it.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what it says. This passport is only valid for one return flight. Cause see, when I stayed in Kenya longer than I was supposed to, and so they got mad and they wanted me to pay all these fees and penalties to get my new passport. So now I gotta reapply for my passport. I'm just saying all that to say, I'm supposed to go to Israel in December, but I don't know if I'll have my passport back, but before then. So definitely this year in May, I'm going to Israel. And
I'm gonna call you about that because we want to discuss that as far as like how much it'll cost or whatever. I'll talk to you about that offline.
Yeah.
But I definitely do want to take that trip over to the land and see how it is for myself as well.
And man, anybody else that wants to go, man, we go together. We buy group tickets, man. When we get there, you ain't got to worry about nowhere to stay. I take care of everything. Last time I went to Israel, 2 brothers went with me, and they were on dialysis, and I got them set up with dialysis at the Sarit Center, and they were able to get their dialysis and everything. So if those 2 brothers, one of them has since passed away. But if those 2 brothers were able to go to Israel with their medical conditions, there's no excuse for nobody else not to go. If you're able-bodied, if you got all your, like, you might be on child support, but if you're paid up to date and you can get a passport, there's no excuse for us not to go over there and just see the land. There's people there that'll receive us, that'll take care of us, that'll put us up somewhere to stay. They'll feed us. They'll drive us around. We'll go see all the whole land, bro. So
I'm thinking
definitely
about I
got to
want
do it.
Qanath to go with us, but I really want to take my whole family, my wife and my 2 daughters, because I really want to go over there and let them experience and see our where we come from as a people, and where we will be going back to one day, hopefully
Absolutely.
soon. Most High will, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you, like I said, you want to bring any more information out, because you got new people coming in and out. And like I said, as far as us talking about, the 12 tribes and them being all Negro-looking people, and how we basically trying to hand over our heritage to other people that's not upon our nation. It's like I said, I feel like we're in crunch time. And more stuff is being revealed every day, and brothers like you been around here and there and going to these different countries, bringing out this knowledge to brothers is a very important thing. And that, us as, men that represents our nation, we got to stand up and teach what's right. Because, like I said, my belief is Acts 5:29. We ought to obey Yahweh rather than men. I'm not going to teach it. I taught that for almost 9 years because I believe that was true, as being a student. But as I got older, and me learning and dipping and dabbling and reading for myself, and I've been stopped believing and teaching certain things out of One West. I was like, nah, that ain't right. Especially when I started learning Hebrew. And my elder Sha'el, he told me, he was like, you learn Lasha One Quadash, you learn biblical Hebrew, you learn Yiddish, study it all. So that's what I've been doing. That's why I got Yiddish books. That's why I got Lasha One Quadash books. That's why I got biblical Hebrew books, because, like I said, I wanted to be versatile in what I'm doing. I didn't want to be one-dimensional, because I saw the flaw in just being one-dimensional when it comes to the languages and stuff like that, and how you can get trapped up if you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. The camps serve their purpose, as far as establishing people, building up that discipline that you need, because this walk is a walk of discipline. Camps are totally good for that. But just like in the military, you can't spend your whole military career in boot camp. You got to get out of the boot camp. You got to go into whatever profession or specialty you're going into. You know, you got to move up in ranks. So the camps serve their purpose, and I can't knock any camp. I'm not going to knock any leader, you know, because there are some camp leaders that I agree with, and there's some camp leaders that I just don't agree with. But the Most High has put them in that position for His purpose, and so we got to acknowledge that, and we just got to keep doing the work, you know. And that's the big thing, is do the work. And a lot of us, we're just afraid. It's so hard for brothers to come together because you don't want to meet me because you're afraid that I'm going to say something and challenge you on what you believe and shake up your foundation. Man, we got to get past that. We got to get past that. You know, brothers are afraid to be, the Bible says, lest you be converted. You know, people are afraid to go and get converted. You know, you don't want to meet, you know, I got to go to work, or my baby mama sick. When you go to work when your baby mama's sick, you go to work when you got this, that, the other going on, but you don't want to meet with your brothers because, or travel with your brothers. Let's go to Puerto Rico. We don't need no passport to go to Puerto Rico.
Right.
And the tickets right now are dirt cheap. We can go to Puerto Rico and we can see what those, we can go find some black Puerto Ricans, ask them some questions. Everybody over there speaks English. We'll be closer to the Dominican Republic. We could find people in Puerto Rico from the Dominican and ask them questions, do interviews.
Well,
there's all kinds of scholarship and research we could do.
When I first went to the Dominican Republic, that's when I had questions, because I went and I visited different parts and I saw black people there, and then the Dominican natives there, and they was telling me who was there, and they were telling me that they told me the Taino Indians inhabited that land. And they showed me that God that they worship, it was like the statue thing. And I was confused, and I was like young in the truth. And I was like, what? And they was like, yeah. And they was like, I was like, wait a minute, I thought the Tainos inhabited Puerto Rico. He was like, no, brother. They was here, they was there. And I was like, and this was elders who was touring me around, telling me stuff. And that was like the Most High. He started showing me stuff then that I was like, and I was just thinking about the chart in my mind there. But he was showing me a lot of stuff, and then I was saying, now people over there worshiping the white Christ, rubbing it, kissing the feet, doing the idol worship. So he manifested a lot of stuff to me there, and he let me see it. Me and my wife, we witnessed it with our own eyes, and I was like, man, this is crazy. Like I started having a whole bunch of questions then, because I was like, I don't know, man, something ain't right, because it seemed like everybody just kind of, a lot of stuff mixed up over here, and it didn't seem, my spirit didn't set right after that no more.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I just didn't know how to. But that was the first when I started traveling. I knew something was wrong when they told me what they told me.
Yeah, man, you got to travel. I started mine going to New York. I was like, because I'm from Houston, so we see all these brothers on the camps, on the streets. You don't see that in Houston because it's too hot out here, and everybody has cars, and ain't no blocks like it is in New York where there's be people just walking to and fro. So you don't see any sidewalk camp thing going on out here. So like, man, let's go to New York. And so for 4 years, me and my cousin and my sister, we would get up every summer. We go to New York, spend a few weeks out there, finding Hebrews, asking questions. That's when I started doing my research on the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. I even wrote an article about the Taino Indians and how, I mean, like the ones that might be Hebrew, and how the color variance differentiates between Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. Half of the time, they don't even know who's a Puerto Rican or Dominican. You go up there for the Puerto Rican Day Parade, everybody's Puerto Rican.
Right.
They don't know who's Puerto Rican, Dominican. They might know for themselves, but they don't know if the person up the street is Puerto Rican or not. Go into Spanish Harlem on Bertrand Avenue. They don't know who's Puerto Rican and who's Dominican. They just know for themselves, I'm Puerto Rican or I'm Dominican, but my neighbor, the person next to me, in fact, it's so many of them in New Jersey, right there across the water in Weehawken and Hoboken and all other places, and they all mixed in together, you can't tell who's who.
Mm.
You know?
So they like a mixture of people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ain't no such thing as a Puerto Rican. That's a mutt. That's a mixture of a Spanish, a Taino Indian, and a lot of them have African ancestry. And you go up further into their genealogies from the mother to the grandmother to the great grandmother, they get darker and darker and darker. Because the great grandmother was the African who was raped, or the Hebrew that was raped by the white Spanish, and then their child became bright skinned. And then they realized if I was bright skinned, I get treated better. So they started marrying bright skins, and that's what's going on in Puerto Rico.
So how you feel about the terrors and the weak theory? Because like they trying to give me and Qanath a lot of heat for us just speaking our mind and bringing out the information for us, saying that the nation of Israel is all black and not a diverse looking nation for us Mexicans, Native Indians that looks like the $5 Indians at the powwow, and you know all these people claiming that they're Ephraim, and then you have Negroid Israelites who know that they Ephraim and kept the customs for generations, and then you have ones who saying they are Ephraim now because of stones that they found somewhere, and you know stones that they found in Mexico or stuff like that. And how do you feel about that?
Man, wheat and tares. You know, that is a. I mean, the Bible speaks in idioms and allegory and metaphor. So wheat and tare is a metaphor that can apply to a lot of different things. You want to apply that to a bloodline or genealogy, so be it. You want to apply it to sound doctrine, so be it. You want to apply it to uh, the type of fringes, or I mean the type of foods. I got people that say that we ain't supposed to be eating chicken. I mean, because chicken is it was this or the other. I mean, so you can apply that any way you want because it's just a metaphor. It's kind of like the knowledge of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It ain't talking about an actual tree,
Right.
the fruit that it bears. It's not talking about actual fruit. It's talking about a knowledge and the things you get from that knowledge. If the tree of knowledge is plumbing, then the fruit that you would bear would be you could go fix some toilets or fix some sinks. If that tree of knowledge is electrical working, then you ought to be able to plug in some circuits and install some ceiling fans. So it's a metaphor for something else. The speckled bird thing and the cake not turned. I got people saying that that's talking about skin color. What? That's not talking about skin color. That's talking about they're wicked and they didn't turn their ways over.
Fun.
So silly people. This is why the Bible says not to argue with foolish people, because silly people can make even reasonable arguments something silly. People. One of the problems I have with us is we try to make everything apply to what we want it to apply to, whether it's in the right context or not. And that's an issue. Is we don't see the bigger picture. The Bible says in Isaiah that we don't even consider that
Right.
what we think is right or wrong. We don't even consider. We just assume we're right, like the Messiah has revealed something to us that he hasn't revealed to anybody else, and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to debate about it besides what we know. And that's what you see going on right now on the internet. Hebrews fighting over foolishness rather than uniting, rather than coming together somewhere, building our own communities, talking about ways to save money, doing real scholarship research. Everybody ain't gotta agree, but we know everybody needs fringes.
Right.
Everybody ain't gotta agree, but we know all our sisters need head coverings.
Right.
All our children need Israelite literature.
Right.
Write a book, write a children's book, send it out amongst the brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? Do something for the nation rather than sit there and debate, because that's just wasted energy.
See, what I wanted to do, because I have the Apocrypha in Hebrew, and I wanted to translate that into Hebrew and English for the nation, right? And I think that's why the Most High probably put it in my possession, but I didn't want to do it in a way where I'm trying to fund everybody or charge everybody for the information. I felt like it was something I was trying to pass to like the elders and something that our people should have as a nation. You know, I know you should be paid for your work, but not to make profit or try to get rich off of our people. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, that's not what it's about. You know, it's about building a nation.
Yeah. I mean, there's platforms like there's one called Schoology where you can actually, it's free too. You go up there, you upload your lesson, and you create your own course in Schoology. And then when people want to take your course, you can send them the access code, and they type in the access code, and then you become the teacher, they become the students, and you could teach a whole course on different facets of the law or different facets of the history or the culture or the dietary law. I mean, just different facets of anything you want right there on Schoology. I mean, we have to start creating our own scholarship body to pass on to future generations. Every nation of people keeps a historical record of themselves. And we have the scriptures, but we don't have anything else because we are dependent on other nations to tell us who we are. And that's kind of where the confusion started.
And how do you feel about the so-called Northern Kingdom movement of brothers who's calling us Canaanites and saying that we're not the actual Israelites, and this is their book? And this movement that's been going on for a while now, started, I guess, by the guys they call the Three Amigos, where they go and talking about us. And then you got brothers saying that's Ephraim vexing Judah. And you know, they got this movement out now, and then you don't really see too many brothers combating that. And then brothers who supposed to be Northern Kingdom, that's Puerto Ricans or whatever, they don't be getting on them brothers saying, hey, y'all brothers off, but they be with them and still congregating with them and talking to them, like, because that's their own people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's silly. Second of all, I'm reminded of the story when the Israelites were fighting the Philistines, and the Philistines stole the Ark of the Covenant. And what happened to them brothers? They was all getting sick. They were all dying. They were all these bad things was happening to them. And once they realized it was because they had taken the Ark of the Covenant, they had to put it on some donkeys and send it back down the road.
I remember that story. I was dying laughing reading that. Yeah.
The Most High is going to deal with that, because that is a violation of the third commandment, which was what? Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain.
Exactly.
So we ain't even got to deal with them. The Chinese, look, all we got to do is outlive them. They smoke so many cigarettes. All we got to do is outlive them. You know, we're coming. This knowledge, what we're talking about is called many things in Scripture, but it's also called the breath of life. And this is why we're going to live forever, because of what we're talking about.
If anybody have any questions, please write them below, because I don't want to hold the brother up all night. You know, I'm gonna let him, you know, speak about whatever else he wanted to talk about. But if y'all have any questions, please write them below, and I'll ask them for y'all. Go ahead, Ken. You continue.
No, I'm good. I'm good. We're just going back and forth, bro. That's
right.
You know, I've been following you guys for a long while. You know, following them videos, and my sister probably watches 1,000 hours a week, ain't even 1,000 hours in a week. She watches videos of you guys all the time, old videos, new videos.
Wow.
So I've always had my ear to what's going on in the movement. You know,
I can't watch street teaching no more, brother. It don't, like, for years I stopped, like, because it don't do nothing for me. Like, I don't learn from it. To me, It's the same regurgitated stuff. So I be like, you see it and you see maybe some new cats waking up, but to me, I don't get nothing from that. Like the Most High took that away from me. He's like, no, this ain't.
Yeah.
You got all these books. Read these books. Study this Hebrew and get into these Hebrew dictionaries and lexicons. Like, I can't watch street teaching. Like, it's not for me. Like,
Yeah.
I've been people be telling me like, I saw you on YouTube. I'm like, man, I don't watch that stuff. I never like, man, I got so many videos on there. But yeah, because I
Hey,
just feel like now once you learning and doing something different and you reading and studying a different way, people like street teaching, don't deal with that stuff. Like, yeah, that's good. It's entertainment for people, but it's not really study. And that's why I just for years, man, I
yeah.
can't get into it.
And, you know, and that begs another point. That's why you can't really philosophize with any of these brothers, because that street teaching is set on a certain number of rules, and independent thinkers, I don't have to think the way I don't have to think according to your rules. And because I can think outside of the box or outside of the parameters that you've set, all of a sudden I'm a scoffer, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or it has to be this way. You know, all of that stuff is just, I call it precept. They say precept upon precept, but I call them precept puzzles. You know, and it is good when you're teaching debate, because in debate you understand a skillful debater is going to set you up and box you in to a logic puzzle where the only response you can give is the response he has set you up to give. And the only way for you to get out of that logic puzzle is by blatantly rebuking or refuting what it was he was saying. And it's called a word puzzle. And these brothers are very skillful at creating word puzzles. But it's debate tech. You know what I'm saying? As a teacher, I can't go into my classroom and do the same thing that these brothers are doing. That's the pedagogy that's not going to be conducive to a learning environment. That pedagogy is conducive to teaching debate.
Right.
And that's the problem we have, is you see all these brothers, they're doing the same pedagogy, which is, and a pedagogy just a fancy way of saying a strategy for teaching, or a framework for teaching. They're doing a certain pedagogy, and they're causing a debate, because that is what that framework, that is the only result you get from that framework. As a teacher, I have to go and I have to allow time for debate, but I also have to allow time for insight and reflection. I have to allow time for question and answer, and I have to facilitate the learning environment in my classroom. And you can't do that. You can't learn anything in a debate. All you can do in a debate is practice what you've already learned. And so for all these brothers who are memorizing this debate stuff, man, you're really spinning your wheels, because you haven't really learned anything. You just reciting. You've become a parrot. You just regurgitating what the next man did, what the next man said, what the next man is wearing. You know, and it's really silly that this is what the scholarship has become in Israel.
You know, one thing Elder Qanath said, he was like, Shan, he like, brother, if you go look at some of these camp videos, brother, these guys is leading the camps. They're young men. They're not even that old. They like 25 or maybe 22.
Right.
You know, like they don't even have elders. And you know what I'm saying? They just learn from watching camps, and then they just raising up their own camps. And, you know, it's different, you know. It's not
Yeah.
how it was like when I first came in, and you
Right.
know,
It's
the elders
changed.
took us under their wing, and they, you
You,
know, like I said, I
you
give
and I are old heads. You and I are old heads, bro. I mean, I'm 35 this year, man.
I'm
You know,
34, you know.
yeah,
I'm 34, so I
we
trust me, I
old heads,
know.
man. We are old heads. We're like rappers trying to drop a first album. You know, we're too old in the game. You know, I'm for real. We old. You know, and you got brothers. You know, that have been around for 20, 30 years, 40 years, and in the things that they have seen, they saw us growing up, you know, in the truth, you know, and that's why it's so important that we have elders and that we respect our elders and that we learn from our elders and not be afraid to learn from other elders. Because guess what? I'm going to learn from other elders. I'm not going to just learn from my elders. I'm going to learn from anybody that's been in it. If you've been in this truth longer than I have, then guess what? I can learn from you. Even if you haven't been in this truth longer than I have, I can still learn something from you. Because my students teach me something every day.
And that's what I went back to.
Every day.
And I went and I spoke about that, saying, you know, I respect all the elders and everything that they taught me coming up out of the One West School of Thought. But now, you know, the seeds was planted, and now I'm growing a different sprout. You know, there's no disrespect to saying, hey, I'm a traitor, or you supposed to held on to what you was taught. But if it wasn't right, why hold on to it? You have to move on. You have to grow. It's nothing. It's not even being disrespectful. And I still have love for the elders and everyone that taught me coming up out the One West School of Thought. But I had also non-Messianic brothers teach me things in the scriptures that I never was taught from the elders that came up out of that school of thought. So, and I was telling, I don't have no issue with that. But like I said, whatever I'm learning, brother, I'll take the information, you know, and I read it, I study it for myself. But I'm not going to sit there and just ignore scriptures or ignore something that could possibly 100% true because of my pride and my anger, because I had to repent from that because I had that type of mentality on me. Like I said, coming up in One West, you have that mentality of, oh, you're supposed to hate Africa, or we ain't supposed to deal with Africans or anything dealing with in Africa. We got that mentality, you know, when we come up under the school, that's getting embedded in you, because that's how we think. It's all just about Israel. Anything about Africa or none of our people's over there, you know what I'm saying? And I had to, you know, reset my thinking and my mind. And the Most High, He opened up my eyes to a lot of things, and, you know, made me renew my spirit. So I had to repent on a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Man, and when you get to the point where you can no longer repent, that's when the Most High is through with you. Because King David messed up a lot, and he was still the king. He was the apple of the Most High's eye, but he messed up at least 3 times that I can remember.
Right, and that's why I feel that the Most High got me and Qanath on a different journey now, doing things differently. Because, you know, we've been together since this journey started. Well, since we met, you know, and you know, Most High we'll finish this thing out together, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, well, you got a new brother down here in Houston now.
Oh, definitely.
I'm with you, man. I am with you. You know, definitely we got to do this.
And like I said, brother, we looking for more brothers with like-minded minds, and you know, I'm looking forward to sojourning with you, brother, to the motherland and checking out the land, and, you know, and exchanging information. And, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to being one of your Hebrew students too as well, because I'm glad you spoke about that. But, you know, I definitely need help brushing up on my Hebrew. You know, I study Lashawan Kodesh and Biblical Hebrew, but I some questions I have about the Hebrew, because my elder, Shael, he also helped me out too, you know. I don't really like to bother him because he already have a bunch of students down in North Carolina. So he helped me out with Hebrew as well.
Absolutely, man. We start with just making the sounds, because what I teach is conversational Hebrew. So we start with learning the sounds, you know, and then we start forming words. And what I found with my 2 students now is that once you build a bridge for people, they'll start to decode the language themselves. See, decoding is what makes a language hard. If you don't have the skills to decode a language, then it becomes impossible for you to learn the language. And so what I teach is how to decode the language. the written print language. And so you'll start seeing yourself reading the Hebrew. Even if you don't understand what the words mean, you will start reading the Hebrew because I'm gonna show you how to decode it. You know? And that's actually the first step to fluency. Bro, they would not have me in the classroom teaching Spanish speaking students English, you know what I'm saying, without knowing that I have the ability to teach them how to decode, because I teach them how to decode English and Spanish.
Now this right here.
Yeah.
I know this is a Torah.
Uh-huh.
Because when I look at it, right, I got a lot of Hebrew books. And when I went to the bookstore, I saw it, I picked it up. And I said, I looked at it, I wasn't for sure because it has no English in it.
Yeah.
No English. It's all Hebrew, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, Salakia, phone filling. But when I started reading through it, I saw all these other pages and I was a little lost. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what kind of book this is.
Yeah.
Let me find a page. There it is, right there. This is how I knew it was a Torah, because I got so many Torahs. I read them so much.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you right there. You see it?
Yeah, Breshit.
It best said Bereshit. I said, oh, this is a Torah. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell on the outside, but when I opened it up and I kept looking through it on the inside,
Yeah.
I
I can
know
see.
Bereshit, Bara.
Breshit, Bara, Elohim, Et, Hashemayim, Ve'et, Haaretz. Yeah.
Yep. I said, this is a Torah. But it don't say that there when I look at my other Torahs.
Yeah, yeah. That's Fope.
So that's why I was a little lost.
Yeah. Sepharim. Hold on, let me see. Go back to it. That last word is Sepharim, which is book. Sepharim, yeah. Sepharim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Takash. Takuf.
He said
Takuf Sepharim.
reverse the phone when you show it. I can't reverse it. I don't know. All you can do
No,
is
that's right. Takuf Sepharim. Yeah, I don't know why they call it that. I have one here too, and this one here is just as strange as yours. But this one here, is that one spine different too?
what you mean?
Does
Like
it go from right to left when you
yeah,
open it up?
yeah.
This
Okay,
is the one I have.
Right, that's the okay. I don't have that one. Yeah, this is right to left.
Yeah, and this one here is
That's by Artist Scrolls, right?
No, I got this one in Israel, so I don't know who wrote this one, and it has the Nikud and everything in it.
Right. You ever seen this one, the Kumash?
Yeah, the Kumash. Yeah, I've seen that one before too. You got a lot of books in there.
Listen. Look. When I say I'm an Israelite, I'm 100% Israelite.
Scholar, yeah.
Don't let nobody tell you a lie.
Man, but that's how it has to be though, bro. We gotta have some real scholars, man.
Look, let me show you the Hebrew Apocrypha I got. It's right here. I don't think
you got the rare books too, man.
This one is beat up. It's like, I think it's written in I think it's written in Aramaic, but it's falling apart and it's very delicate. That's why I don't really let nobody come and handle it, but it's definitely written in Aramaic. But this is the Hebrew Apocrypha, all Hebrew.
Wow. Okay.
So when we link up, we'll definitely look at this together.
Yeah.
Maybe you the person that I should have help me translate it.
Where? What city you in?
I'm in Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
But this is the oldest Bible dictionary that I have in my possession. This Bible dictionary is from 1879. I'm not going to show too much stuff out of it because, like I said, I don't want to really see how it's falling apart. You know, I don't like to show everybody my jewels, but you know, when we get together, you know, we'll go over some of this stuff. But there's certain stuff, jewels in here that I found straight out the Library of Congress. See it right there?
Yeah. Wow.
1879.
1879. Yeah.
And it got maps in it. Got a lot of information, but you can see it's not in the best condition.
Yeah. And you know, one of the things we should be doing is, as Hebrews, we form our own scholarship body, and then we certify certain books as foundational to our culture. You know what I'm saying? You would certify certain books,
right?
And you know, like for instance, if everybody uses that book from Babylon of Timbuktu, then we certify that as quintessential to our heritage, and it becomes part of our culture. You know, we graft it into our culture. You know,
I definitely agree. Now, see, I know these is Torahs.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's
I
just
got
a
a bunch.
Torah.
They all Hebrew Torahs, and this one is a Hebrew Torah with a Hebrew New Testament in it, in one book.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Now,
you know these.
only thing you don't have is like the Septuagint. You got the Septuagint?
Yep, I got that too. Hold on, I'll show you. When I say I damn near got everything, like the Most High blessed me with so much stuff. Like I don't really know nobody in Israel who could touch my catalog. I even got the Talmuds in Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
The lexicons, the Josephus. Here's another one right here. Like I can actually give you some of these books for real, because I can't use them all.
Wow, look at that.
I got books from the synagogue over there, High Holy Day books. When I say I got it, brother, I got it. Like Qanath will tell you. And we don't really like I said, just let people, you know, deal with whatever stuff like that.
Yeah.
But all types of Pentateuchs. This is the William Tyndale Bible. I got extra lexicons and commentaries. You was asking about the Septuagint. Let me find it. I even got all types of Dead Sea Scrolls. I even got the Hebrew in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, the Dead Sea Scrolls in Hebrew.
Yeah.
See it?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Man, you got a collection of it over here, bro.
I know. I'd be so scared because I'm like, Lord, I hope this house never burn down. I would cry my heart out.
Nah, all that knowledge, most I ain't gonna let that go to waste.
That's what I said. I don't want to lose this. That's why I tell people you call me the bookkeeper. Because I'm holding it. I'm holding on to stuff until as long as possible. Let me find that Septuagint. I do have it. I got like a lot of extras these too. I don't know if you have this book, but I got so many copies. Qanath got some. This is I believe it's a Hertz Pentateuch Torah.
Pentateuch.
Yeah. See, I got so many copies of these books I don't even need. Like this one, I already have that one. I don't even use it because I got one here. Everything I use mainly that I want to like a lot. Oh my bad. This thing. Hold on. Yeah. See.
So is Qanath in Baltimore too?
No, Qanath's in he's in DC. He in
Okay,
DC.
that's what. That's like what, 2 hours away or what?
Nah, like 45 minutes.
45. Okay, y'all close by then.
Yeah, daily prayers. Hold on, let me find that Septuagint because I got it in here. It's around here. Like I said, I got so many books. It's ridiculous. It's hard for me to keep up with everything. It's in here. Septuagint. That's in all Greek though. The Septuagint.
Yeah.
Where is it? I think
Bro, you got
it's right here.
You got a lot of books.
Like I said, man, you come down here, you have a field day of studying. My bad. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, okay. Is it in Greek? Actual Greek?
Yep. I mean.
Okay, yeah, it's in Greek. Okay. Yeah, man. We all them books belong to us, man. All of them books.
Right. And like I said, that other dictionary I got is speaks about the book of Adam and Eve and the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher and all that was originally in the Apocrypha.
Yeah.
I forgot what book I was about to show you. There was another book I was
Yeah, he definitely got a library.
Well, like I said, these are all the other Hebrew books I got. Like I said, see the synagogue, Torah, prayer books. These are High Holy Day service books here from the synagogue. Trying to get them. It's just so many of them. More books down there.
Yeah, English, Greek.
But see, I got a bunch of more books in my car that I didn't even pull out yet. I got a bunch of more books in my car. What book is this? Oh, it's a daily prayer book. Because I got some more books today. I don't know if you ever read this right here.
Yeah.
Apocalyptic New Testament. Then, I got all of Lasha One Kodash books. I brought these years ago when I first came into the truth from the house of David. Torah.
Okay, he wrote it in the Paleo.
Right. So I got this and the New Testament as well.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
Yeah.
And the Forgotten Book of Eden, yeah. The Vatican has the books, the Annals of the Kings, and there was the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah and the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. It's more writings that we don't even have that are being kept from us.
Like the Ascension of Moses. You ever heard of that?
Right, the Ascension of Moses.
A book called the Prophet Elias, I believe, is a book. The Book of the 12 Patriarchs. There was a few other books I never heard of before. I was like, wow. But they were supposed to be in the scriptures. And they said the book of Enoch, that was accepted by the Albanian church. So whoever they were, I don't even know who the Albanians was. I was looking them up to figure out who they were. Oh, is this another? Yeah, this is another Torah. This is the one my daughter wrote in. I got to keep them out from down here. They writing in my books. See, she scribbled in it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, tore a couple pages out. I was going crazy. But, I just try to keep them preserved.
Yeah, that's why I don't really go through this book here, because this is an old hardback edition, and I don't even want to write.
And see, I don't have that book in my collection, but I do got a lot of books. I got a lot of books on natives and things like that, and I got a bunch of books over there I didn't even show. Babylon the Timbuktu, Valley of the Dry Bones. I think that's one by When Rome Fell by Rudolph Windsor. I got a bunch of books that he written. Yeah, brother. You know, we definitely got to link up. You know.
Man, absolutely, man. We're going to.
Oh, Qanath said let you go to bed now.
He knows I came for just get off work.
Oh, okay. Ain't no problem. I'm about to get myself together so I can go to work and eat dinner.
Oh man.
Yeah, because my wife made some oxtail stew, and I am really, really hungry.
Oh, yeah. All right, bro. Well, listen, I'm going to add. Yeah, I'm gonna add something to your. I'm gonna see if I can send it to you through Facebook Messenger. It's some research that I've been working on for about 7 years, and I'm gonna share it with you. And
okay, cool.
And I want you, once you look at it, if you like it, bro, don't even ask. Just if you get into a debate with somebody and it could be of some use to you, then share it. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you as soon as we hang up, so you can have it.
Right.
All right, and
you
tell me how you like it.
Appreciate it, Doc. All right, go ahead.
No, I'm talking to the elder Qanath. He said send it to me too. I'm gonna send it to you too.
Oh, this is let me show you this real quick. This is a Hebrew New Testament, but it's Yiddish.
Oh man.
Yeah, and it said in here that this New Testament compares with any other New Testament written. Where is it at? I saw it in here. They had that part in English. Like I said, I'm gonna definitely let you see it, but it's in Yiddish. They had that part written out. It said it compares. Here it is, right here. See, I ain't even let nobody really see this. I think this Yiddish translation can compare favorably with any standard translation of the New Testament, whether Hebrew, German, Russian, or any other language which I am familiar. And Aaron Karamba is to be congratulated on his
arduous and successful work.
Right.
Yeah, Edomite.
Yep.
That's crazy. And it's probably not even in Hebrew. It's probably like all kind of craziness going on in there.
And see, that's what I'm saying. And I would like the Most High bless me with it, but I'm like, for some reason, He's giving me these books. You know what I'm saying? He's putting them in my possession for some reason. So I know, and I don't even see no points in this book, like no vowel points. Yeah, this don't even have no vowel. Well, it do has a few points, but not as many as.
No, those aren't. Ain't got no nikud.
Yep.
Those aren't considered nikud. That's crazy.
That's what I said, man. You can call me the bookkeeper. For some reason, he put all the stuff in my possession, and I said to myself, I know the Most High gave me the stuff for a reason, but show me what He want me to do with it. I'm gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But it's a reason why He gave me these books, these old books, and this information. But for one, I know He gave me the stuff because He know I'm not gonna misuse it or manipulate people with it, for one, and it's all about the nation. So I've been knew He told me that. You know, it's a mission or something He want me to do.
Hey, you know, we could start by just cataloging all the books, writing down their information, cataloging them, you know, and we create a database of books that we agree as a body, as a scholarship body, we agree these books are important parts of understanding our history and culture and heritage, and we have and we catalog it, and then we put it on the internet somewhere where everybody can go to like our website and they can see the books that we approve or the books that we have given this merit to, and we create a seal or a standard, and when people write books, we review them. If we like them, we put our seal on them. Just a way of making everything more legit.
Right. Well, that's why I said I had to be together with somebody with like minds who would think like we do. For us, it's about prospering the nation, but not trying to get rich off our own people. Because that's not my goal. I don't care about that. My goal is to get to the kingdom. The money in this world, it ain't going to help me. But if my people suffering, what I need $1 billion for, my people suffering all around the four corners of the earth.
Right. And like I told Qanath, man, we gotta stop waiting on the kingdom and be the kingdom.
Exactly.
So we gotta treat each other like we already have the kingdom if we're gonna make it happen.
Definitely agree, King. But all right, I'm gonna let you go though. I'm gonna go ahead and eat what my wife cooked before she come down here and jump on me for not eating. But we'll definitely be in touch.
Bro, you enjoy your meal, bro.
Good talking.
I said you enjoy your oxtails.
Oh, I'm definitely am. I ain't gonna lie, my mouth watering right now. I'm about to go make me a big old bowl. I'm about to go make me a big old bowl. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate talking to you, bro.
Always.
Yeah. So with that, Israel, I'm gonna say shalom. Most High bless. Yahawashi Yahawashi. And I will be uploading this video on YouTube so that we can further push this knowledge out. And so y'all can go check out the information, everything that the brother brought out. Well traveled, well studied, diverse in the languages, And please stop saying people got pseudo scholarship, because this is the actual man who actually doing the work, putting his life on the line and dedicating himself to the nation. And we should respect all brothers who the Most High use to go
absolutely
in and out of the earth. So with that, peace, shalom.
Shalom.